Hey, Sara Watkins, welcome back to eTown.
Thank you so much
Good
for
to
having
see you.
me.
Always
Nick.
fun to hang out. And it's also so interesting because you're always working on something new. You're always changing. Are you a restless person, do you think, at heart, or you're just...
I don't think of myself as restless. I think I'm very aware of my my tendency towards my comfort zones,
Yeah.
but that kind of scares me a little bit because I don't ever want to get stuck in one of them.
Meaning like the couch, or like, you mean just the groove? Like...
Well, it's kind of easy to do stuff, and so I try and mix it up and not. And it's fun, like you mentioned, you were really kind and mentioned a bunch of people that I've gotten to play with, and my favorite circumstances are when someone just assumes that you can do something. They're like,
Right.
You can play a baritone guitar solo, right? Sure.
Yeah.
No, not yet. But it's really nice that people just kind of assume you can do things, and then
Yeah.
it gives you something to work on. And the challenge is, solving a puzzle is a really
Right.
big part of, I think, the appeal to music. It's all just, there's so much mystery and
it's a collaborative process of trying to help the song, just what can we do together to lift the song up.
Totally.
And so you've got that quiet confidence that comes from years and years of doing good stuff. And people spot it, and it's great. They put you in uncomfortable situations.
I really, it's kind of my way of, I like to just sort of say yes and learn how to do it later.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You're describing my gig here as well, by the way. Hey, lots of times when people come to visit eTown, I ask them about their youth and about whether they were in a musical household and what kind of music they were listening to. And in your case...
it was you.
It was, well, and what I meant was we've known kind of what you've been up to since you were 8.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to grow up in a bluegrass kind of scene in the Southwest part of the country, and one of the wonderful things about that music is how you can just kind of walk up to your favorite musicians and ask them questions, and they'll tell you answers, or they'll humor you for at least as long as they have to, and like going to bluegrass festivals and seeing the 3 best fiddle players at that festival sitting on a picnic bench playing tunes and answering questions, doing workshops. That's normal, and it's such a luxury, and I just adore that tradition.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that we at least have been a sort of part of that for a while now.
A big part of that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, I'm just meaning you and me. We've been hanging out with each other. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that
We've had dinner.
Yeah.
We've had dinner. We've had drinks. We played tunes.
Only when you were grown up. Yeah.
Which has been a while now.
Yeah.
That's been the bulk of our relationship.
I waited, yeah. No. I want to ask you a little bit about the Nickel Creek. Before we go just talk about what you're up to now, I want to talk a little bit about this process you've been through, because not many people could have prepared as a young person aiming at bluegrass for what happened when Nickel Creek became successful. And I wonder now, looking back, do you feel like you were kind of ready for what happened?
Which part of what happened?
Just getting famous.
Oh, well, fame is all relative because most people in the world have no idea of Nickel Creek. I think, I don't know. It doesn't feel like that. Anytime we've got to play to some really beautiful big theaters, which I feel like is an amazing honor to get to that point where you can tour in a tour bus and play to a good number of people. And that all those people went out of their way to go see your show is a real big honor. And but that's 2 hours of the day, and the rest of the day is just slumming it, or like trying to get a ride to do your laundry somewhere,
right.
Or find the least gross bathroom to take a shower in backstage. Yeah. It's all that stuff.
Right.
Fame is great.
Yeah.
Bluegrass fame. No, it is great. But I think I definitely went through my college years without the college and just on tour. But I think I had a similar experience.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's good. I like that. And when and the band Nickel Creek stopped in 2007, is that right? Something like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And was that a like, oh my God, now what am I going to do? You were what, 20 something? And so you looked around and thought, okay, well now it's up to me, and I got to do some stuff on my own.
I had been I had been sort of figuring out what my first solo record was going to be already for about a year before we decided to put Nickel Creek on the shelf, and I'd gotten in the studio with a bunch of people and tried recording a bunch of different songs, and I didn't really know what kind of record I wanted to make, and but I had a few direction options, and then we decided to put Nickel Creek on the shelf, and I was like, all right, well, that means I'm gonna do this. I gotta figure this out, which was, I think, one of my first positive experiences of like just jumping off a cliff and figuring out if you're wearing roller skates or not. Yeah. And
did you have to find new collaborators, like a new sort of team to move forward in that realm with, or were you just?
What I ended up doing for that first record, first self-titled record, was establishing a home base musically. It wasn't a daring record. There weren't crazy complex arrangements. I basically gathered a bunch of trusted musicians who I knew in Los Angeles, a bunch in Nashville, and it was half originals, half covers. And John Paul Jones produced it, and he was an incredibly incredible star in the production. Without being a star at all. I mean, he made me feel like this was a really important record for me, and really helped me step into that for the first time.
Well, he loves that. He loves traditional, music.
He does. He's a mandolin player, which is how I knew him first.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, I used to be in this other band.
Yeah, in the old days,
Led
he
Zeppelin.
says. In the old days, we would, but. So that was the first record. The second record was a lot different. It was Sun Midnight Sun. I did it with a really talented guitarist and producer named Blake Mills out in Los Angeles. And it was he and my brother Sean and I kind of set this foundation for the songs, and then we built up by just overdubbing a ton of things and just kind of discovering the songs that way, which was really fun, totally different than my first process. And this record was kind of somewhere in between, but a lot of the arrangements were built into the songs, into the compositions, and I just got this crazy great group of people in the studio, and it was really great.
Yeah. In case you just tuned in, you're listening to eTown here with Sara Watkins, talking about your latest record, Young in All the Wrong Ways. Gabe Witcher, whom we know as a punch brother and great fiddle player, is also a really good guitar player. Mm-hmm. And he was stepping out playing electric guitar and
he surprises you, man. He's one of those guys who there's some instrument in the room and he'll just go ahead and sit down at it and be very, very good at it.
Yeah,
and
he's a talented guy.
He just holds it close.
I will say that it is it's edgy a little bit, the sound of it, and I appreciated that that's part of you too. I was a little worried about your home life, hearing all the sort of bad boyfriend songs that you wrote.
You're assuming the boyfriend part.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, whatever. What I meant was the breakup, kiss off, leave me alone, go away. Yeah. You're not part of my life anymore. Songs.
Yeah, I think that a lot of what went into making this record was going through a bit of a course correction in life. I am happy. My home life is fantastic, but just adjusting certain things about your life, or like relationships, and jobs. Sometimes it's you need to move. Sometimes you just don't. You realize you're still in a place that you didn't really mean to be this long, and that might have to do with your your picture of the world, or all kinds of things. And I feel like everyone goes through these course corrections, and sometimes it's little and sometimes it's big. But I was feeling a little bit of the this little bit of tumult under the water, and I wanted to embrace that as a feeling of progress, that I'm moving forward and not just being comfortable for the sake of not wanting to see what's ahead and what you could be doing. And so that's where a lot of the songs came from.
Yeah. Well, it's a product of whatever you're feeling. And so if you're writing from an honest place, or if you're writing skillfully about an experience you see others having or that's around you, you tap into that sort of taproot of emotion, which you did, it seems like, in a lot of these songs.
Thanks.
So that's the goal, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good goal. There's so many ways to write a song. I feel like every song's about, 10 or 20 things, and most songs in the world, and you just figure out a way to tell the story by leaving out a lot of information, maybe putting in a few extra ingredients, and it gets the thing. It's like you just want to push the boat in the water and see where it goes. Yeah. And that's what I was trying to figure out how to do.
Yeah. Well, it's a journey, just like playing music with other people and being scared, being challenged, being in a situation that forces you to grow and learn and adapt. Are there songwriters that you're listening to now, or that you kind of carry around with you, that you turn to as either sort of touchstones or people who can? You were on the road with Jackson Browne, and I saw you.
He's pretty great.
He's pretty great.
Yeah, Jackson. There's so many things that it's moments in most songs that really affect us. I think, like, for me anyway, there'll be like, he has this song called "The Late Show" that we did on this tour, and the song is gorgeous. The first verse is perfect. I feel like it just draws me in, and he has this beautiful way of unfolding a theme throughout 3 or 4 verses in a way that develops in a way that's really, really hard to do, and you can dig a lot out of it as time goes on. And there's so many writers who are really incredible. I'm trying to identify and absorb the things that really affect me, and I should say that, like, writing songs for me is not, I figured something out and I'm going to write about it. It usually happens when I'm in the midst of trying to figure something out, and it'll come out in I'll just throw up on the page, and then you just sort of sort through the peas and carrots of it all, and you figure out what you can identify, and then try and make it rhyme.
I think a lot of aspiring songwriters are going to have second thoughts after hearing that description. No, that's pretty cool, sir. I like that. Hey, we have a lot more music to get to, but before we do, I know that you also, I think it was last year, you did a tour with Patty Griffin and Inez Mitchell about getting out the vote. Was it primarily for women, or what was the nature of that tour?
It was a tour called Use Your Voice, and it was in league with the League of Women Voters, which is a nonpartisan organization that's been around for 100 years, and their main objective is to provide information to voters, a lot of local information that has to do with redistricting and how to vote. In a lot of states, it's really hard to register how to vote for a lot of people, and these issues that are very important on a local level but don't get as much press or note. And so each night, a woman from it was almost always women. There was one man from the League of Women Voters who would speak for about 5 minutes to the audience about the issues coming up in their ballot, their primary. And Patty planned this tour, not really thinking that it was going to be, in such an incredibly dynamic year politically, but just because she learned that, particularly in these local elections, and the every 2 year elections, there's like single digit percentages of turnout in a lot of places, like 6-8% of people voting for these issues that are really important and actually affect us a lot. And the largest group of of people who aren't showing up were single women, and she's like, I don't know why this is, but I'm a single woman and I'm not being represented if my people aren't voting. And so that was her main inspiration to go do something. And it was really wonderful that it was nonpartisan, because I feel like there's just it's just very important for everyone to come out and have conversations that are hard, and that's a rare thing to happen these days. And she was really good to promote that, and I think she did a really good job getting that across.
Well, it's amazing to think that I think 100 years ago women couldn't vote. Mm-hmm. So this is a privilege that shouldn't be taken for granted, and it's shocking in a way when you think about all the issues that are, as you say, confronting and really affecting women in particular, that the turnout is so low. So I think that's a noble cause. I think it's great that you wanted to keep it nonpartisan and stimulate dialogue and make sure people participate in democracy. Those are all good things.
Yeah, she would say, like, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And it was a really wonderful tour to be a part of. It was the first time I was a part of a tour that wasn't about promoting an album. It was about just an idea.
Did it make you want to get involved politically? Is it kind of thing you want to be more engaged with?
It made me want to be much more informed myself than I am. And I think that's the first way for me to be involved politically, is just to be informed, so that I can have conversations and that I can participate to the level that is healthy. And that would be my first thing. I feel like so many issues are so complex. I don't really have a desire to preach any one thing, even when I do have strong feelings. I'm just trying to, figure out what I think about stuff.
Yeah, you can leave that preachy stuff to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the hippie vegetarian, solar power stuff, I'll be doing that.
Preach on, please. We need you.
Well, meanwhile, I'm really thrilled that you're here. Great to hear your new music. Let's get back to hear some more.
Great.
Welcome back, if you would, along with you. By the way, your band is excellent.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah.